What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Pure Passion Podcast. All right, we really rolling. This is already episode 2. Oh my gosh. I'm still in shock myself. I can't believe this. But all right, let's be back with another episode. So let's just get right into it. The title the title of this episode is The Unknowing Transition. Okay? The unknowing transition. Because we go through transitions sometimes without knowing them. There are 2 types of transitions, I want to say. One that you're aware of, and then one that you wasn't even aware was taking place. I just thought of the ocean. You know, when you stand in the middle of the ocean and the water's coming through and back and front and back, and in like 2.5 seconds you're in the middle of the freaking, not ocean, that's kind of extreme, but you know what I mean. Like, you've moved further out from where you originally were. So that is kind of pairing with the idea of a transition that you was not aware about. So I was at work today, and I was really just thanking God and being grateful for the fact that I'm here, for the fact that I can hear his voice, for the simple facts that, he talks to me and just how far he brought me. And then I couldn't help but think about where he brought me from. And I don't necessarily mean that from, I was low and now I'm high. I want to pinpoint specifically the journey, where I was on my journey versus where I am now. Okay. And I kind of went back to Sam's Club in August. I was working at Sam's Club, and Sam's Club was like not the starting part for my journey, because I've been on this journey, but Sam's Club was the starting point for me as far as being activated. So I want to talk about being activated. Okay, cool. So if I'm gonna tell this story, y'all gotta bear with me, all right? I'm so serious. Like, please stay to the end of the video. Please stay to the end of the video, because I believe that God has something in store for everybody. As I was activated, I pray and hope that somebody gets what they need out of this. All right, here goes nothing, y'all. Let's get into it. So, back in August, I was starting my new job. I was working in the warehouse department for Sam's Club. Now, mind you, this is completely out of my normal job kind of vibe. And basically, we had to stack the boxes on. Well, first we had to pack the boxes with the food, dry stock, stack the pallet, wrap the pallet, and put the pallet onto the truck. Okay, so there was, a couple of other women in the back, and I don't know about y'all, but I'm like an introvert, kind of both, and I become social, determined, like depending on the environment. Sometimes I'm the light, hey, what's up, talking to everybody, and then other times, if I don't feel welcomed, I'm not talking. So I was kind of a little bit there. I wasn't feeling all the way welcomed, and I was just kind of feeling shy, like in my bubble. So I realized real quick that this is the kind of job where you can have earpods in and have your phone set up, and people, y'all, this is my first warehouse job, so I was not used to this. Okay, like, not too long ago, I just came from Target, being a freaking cheerleader for Target on the front line. All right, like, I'm in love with working for the back of the store now. Okay, I don't know why I ever wanted to be a cheerleader for the front of the store. Never again. Anyway, I get to the back and I realize, oh, this is sweet. Like, you can watch Netflix, you can have your headphones in, cool. So I started to try to, find videos and watch videos to pass the time. It was like an 8-hour shift, 6-hour shift, whatever. Not the point. And I honestly can't tell you probably God, what led me to these videos that I found on YouTube. Let me correct myself. These are not videos. These are sermons, okay? First and foremost, I for sure ran into Sarah Jakes, and then I found Priscilla, and then I found Medina Pullings, and then I found the whole one at a Potter's House church with TD Jakes and Torrey and Sarah and Stephanie and Brenda. And I really just kind of fell in love with it, honestly. So I remember one day, this was before I even got to the videos, right? I don't know what it was. Nobody was mean to me this day. I didn't stub my toe. I don't know what happened, but I clock out of work, I go to my car, and I just start crying, like bawling. And I was upset with God because I felt like, yet again, I'm at a stage in my life where I'm unrelatable. Nobody notices me. Nobody sees me. Nobody acknowledges me. I'm being honest. Like, I felt like I was never really invited or, picked. And not that, okay, let me correct myself. It wasn't like a pick me energy, but I just felt overlooked. I always felt overlooked. And I remember crying out to God in the car. And I was so upset. Like, it was like a flash out kind of cry. It wasn't like it was like I was crying out to God because I was so fed up with being at this stage in my life where I feel overlooked. I felt overlooked. And I just remember crying that whole day on the way home. The next morning, I get to work, and I was tired of feeling excluded and overlooked. So, I don't know. I don't know what made me do this. I just turned on a service. The first one was from Sarah Jakes, and it was titled Girl Get Up, or Get Up Girl. I think it was Girl Get Up. And one video led to another and another and another. And before you knew it, I was like, the ocean example, I was like, now I'm really in the middle of the ocean. I was way out. I was way out with God. Like, I was just way out. I feel like he picked me up. I was crying. I was basically tugging at his cloth. Like, God, help me, because why am I here still? Why do I still feel like that middle school version of myself who was overlooked and not seen? So when I did that, I feel like he really responded. Let me correct myself. He did respond, and he met me where I was, and he sent me a coaching spirit to meet me exactly where I was in my life. So that was just a little bit about that story, right? But to touch on the unknowing transition. I was in the middle of an unknowing transition. I did not know that I was transitioning. And the point of being in the middle of a unknowing transition is it can hurt. It can hurt like crazy. It's called being pruned. You're being pruned. I want you to think of a dog, right? When a dog is getting a bath, that dog some dogs do, the trained dogs, but majority of the dogs, they're not thinking this is good for me. Let me just sit still and be a good dog and get my bath. No, they're trying to jump out the tub. They don't want you to wet them. They just don't want to be in that process because they don't like it. But they don't know that it is good for you. It's the same way with a baby. I don't know if y'all have ever tried to do a baby's hair, like 6 months, like a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, and they're screaming and they're crying and they're pulling, and their little minds, they're ignorant to the fact that this process may hurt, but it's for your good. Like, I'm doing your hair. After this, I hope that example made sense. After this, your hair will be done. Point is, those two examples relate to the fact that sometimes we're in the middle of a situation. Sometimes we're in the middle of a situation that hurts and causes us confusion. But if we can see it from a different point of view, this is just for our good. So that's kind of what this unknowing transition made me feel like. In the moment, it felt like pain. But the point in the journey that I'm in now, I can look back and see it was a bath. I was just simply getting my hair done. You know what I mean? So what was uncomfortable, right? So this is specifically what I feel led to share with you all, because there are so many of you right now going through this. You're changing. Things are not adding up. Things that you used to like, you no longer have a taste for. Friends that you used to be able to tolerate, you've outgrown. Okay? Places that you used to like to go to just don't feel you anymore. Something is happening. You used to know what to say to that person, and now you're speechless. You used to be the life of the party, and now you feel lame. Girl, I'm here to tell you, you're not going crazy. You're just in the middle of a transition. You are not going crazy. This is the unknowing transition that I wish I would have known when I was in the middle of it. You're outgrowing things. Things are changing for you and they don't make sense. And this is only going to resonate with people that have been getting closer with Jesus Christ. Straight like that. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to... it's just that because that's what happened to me. So this message is only going to resonate with people who have been yearning for God, who have been yearning for his time, who have been yearning for him to show you something different. If that's you, that is what is happening to you. You're outgrowing things because you've decided to go deeper. You've decided that this isn't enough for me over here. I need more. I need more time. I need more energy. And it all starts with a simple step, okay? So let me go back to the things that you used to be able to relate to, right? For example, there are certain conversations with certain girls that you used to be able to have. Mediocre conversations, anything really. Let's say she's venting to you about a situation or a problem. And this is not to say to not be there for your friends. This is not to say that at all. But this is to say that there are certain topics and certain conversations where the old you used to know exactly what to say in a time like this, or to a person like that, or to a girl like that. And now you're just like, nothing, the words are not forming because you have lost that appetite for that. Okay, you've lost the appetite for that. There's certain places that you wouldn't mind going to, giving your time and your energy. But since you've decided to get closer, there's certain things of your spirit, there's certain things of yourself that are going to be left behind. It's like a snake shedding skin. There's certain things that's just not gonna go with you. And the things that you used to like and desire, that's gonna stop too. Okay? It's the unknowing transition. A lot of you guys do not know that you are in the middle of a transition. And it's good news. It's just, it might not feel like good news when you feel like you don't even know yourself anymore. It's because you're being made new. You're being made over. And again, I wish I had somebody to tell me that part when I was losing my mind. but it was all for my good, you know. I was getting closer. I am getting closer to God, but in that moment, I was getting closer to God, and that was great. But then everything around me started to change. I couldn't relate to certain things anymore. I started to become more and more out the loop. Like, people would say, girl, you didn't see that on Instagram? You didn't see that? You don't know this song? And it was over time that I felt like, God, what is happening to me? Like, what is happening to me? Why didn't I see the latest thing? Why don't I know this song? What is going on? And I started to feel like I was getting pulled further and further away. And I didn't like it because it was uncomfortable. It was like everything that I thought I knew, I had to relearn because I was changing and I was going through this transition. So again, about the transition, not only is this all for your good, but this is something that he wants to elevate you in. He wants to move you along. He doesn't want you to stay stagnant. He doesn't want you to just be comfortable in this skin and not shedding and not growing. Sometimes that pruning season hurts, but like I said, we're just getting our hair done. Okay, like, think of it like that. Change is great. Change is good. But when you're unaware that it's change, and when you're unaware that you're going through this, it's just a bunch of confusion. It's a bunch of confusion, and it hurts. And then after this, you know, there are a lot of y'all that have gone silent because of this. You know you're changing. You know you're outgrowing friends and people and places and things, but you don't know how to interpret that because you don't know how to show up in this new skin. You know, you're scared to scare people off. You're scared that somebody may make fun of you. You're scared that it won't be accepted. But if I could share anything about being on this like journey, like currently right now, it's the growing into it that's fun. Like, it's fun. Like, I'm saying that as encouragement against people who are in the middle of a transition and don't know how to bring the new version of themselves to the table. It can be scary, but I just want y'all to know that it's fun. Like, okay, here's another example. What fun is it if somebody gave you, I don't know, some shoes and they fit perfectly? Okay, hear me out, because I know you're like, what are you talking about? Like, what is wrong with shoes that fit perfectly? I mean, unless your feet are done growing, the problem with that is they're going to be done soon. Like, maybe in a year or two, you won't have those shoes anymore. It's better to have something to grow into. You'll have way more time with it. Now, I'm not saying go buy something, big old shoes, so you can have it for a long time. This might have not been the best example, but you feel what I'm trying to say. That is the same thing as when you're going into like this new version of yourself. It's not fitting perfect and tight like a glove, as if you're about to grow out of it. It's kind of loose, and you have room to grow into this thing, to explore yourself more, to see what it is that you like, and things like that. I have unlocked so many different versions of myself that I didn't even know existed, just by getting closer with God, and just by being open-minded to things that I was always closed-minded about. So I just wanted to put that out there for encouragement for everybody, especially the women. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. Again, the women. A lot of the videos and services and sermons that I watch, I mean, it's the women. Like, no disrespect to the men. Please hear me out. I don't mean it in that way. What I mean is there's a power force being raised up, like, in this time, in this season, with God and his forces. He's activating women after women after women. Like, how I'm seeing it right now is, okay, picture a line of women holding hands, okay, and half of them are light and half of them are gray. Like, I want you to think of a character on a video game before you activate it or bring it to life. It's kind of like dull. And then when you tap it and you bring light to it, it's activated. It's like that. Women joining together and becoming a power force, right? It's activation. It's all activation. You're activating her. She's activating you. You're activating the next person. And so on and so forth down the line. So with God's women, you know, there's a lot of us. There is so many women that are being raised up this season, including myself. You know what I mean? I wasn't here. Like, I wasn't where I am, I want to say 6 months ago. I wouldn't dare set up this video, set up this podcast, and talk about the things that God been talking about with me. I wouldn't do it, because who am I, right? Who am I to be bold? Who am I to be fearless? Who am I to have confidence? And who are you not is the real question, right? So it's a little bit of that, you know, recognizing that is what's going to push you along the way. But it doesn't matter and it doesn't count if the push never happens. So again, I'm here to tell y'all, all of y'all that are literally in the middle of this transition and you're going crazy and you don't know what's going on and you don't know why you have outgrown this type of crowd or this type of friend or energy. And if you're honest with yourself, you feel like you're looking down on people, like, okay, I can't act like this because I used to like this and I used to do this. Like, what is going on? Why can't I, you know, relate to any of this anymore? It's a transition. That's all it simply is. If your life was a movie, which quite literally it is, but if your life was a movie and you can pause it and zoom out and see the board, you would understand. You would have a perspective. But sometimes God sends his people who can see that perspective for you and enlightens them to share a message or share a word. Because that's something else that God really been talking to me about. Like levels, like, you know, levels in a video game. I want you to think about that and like kind of apply it to life. Like, sometimes we get through levels and then we get so far down the line onto another level that we forget that we was ever on that level. You know what I mean? Like, and that's messed up, because when you're on a level and when you need help, you wish and you would want somebody to remember how it felt to be at the level that you're at in life. And that is the same reason why you cannot get cocky and you gotta be humble and you have to remember the levels that you went through. I know it's hard to keep track of, you know, levels that we've been through in life, and when somebody comes our way and somebody needs advice, it's like, oh, I remember when I was there, let me go back. But here's something that we never forget: how somebody made us feel. At least for me speaking, that is something that typically a lot of people will never forget. How you made somebody feel. And those are attached with levels in life. What do I mean? All right, let's take a middle school girl, 13, and she's in the boyfriend phase, and she's in the phase of just puppy love and gossip and girls and he say, she say. People, you know, the ones who are watching who have passed that level, what would you tell her? What would you tell that 13-year-old girl? Matter of fact, what would you tell yourself? If you could go back to that version of yourself, what would you tell yourself? And that is my point. Remembering the level that we was at, because God's going to send people your way, and it's crucial that you remember those levels, because as long as you're alive, you're at a level and you're going to need some sort of clarity on that level, right? I mean, God, he's going to give you clarity, but I'm talking about the people that he sends along the way. So again, I don't know what level you're at. I don't know exactly pinpoint where you are, but I do know that I was at a level where I was aggravated because everything around me was changing. I wasn't relating to the things that I used to relate to anymore. I didn't find comfort in the things that I used to find comfort in. I mean, I've even outgrown TV shows, and I know that's like maybe mediocre to somebody. Like, okay, it's just a TV show, but no, okay. TV shows are life. When you are binge watching something and like Grey's Anatomy, okay, now I didn't outgrow Grey's Anatomy. I'm not talking about Grey's Anatomy. But I'm saying, like, everybody typically loves Grey's Anatomy, right? So I want you to think of a show that you really love and then just imagine God taking it away from you or like outgrowing it. You know what I mean? So with new levels, there is skin that you have to shed. And that's really just all this is, you know? Like, you're shedding your skin. You're shedding your skin. I know that somebody might want more on that, like elaborate more, like, are you kidding me? I have outgrown this person and I no longer have interest in this, and I no longer have the time and energy for this kind of crowd anymore, all because I'm shedding my skin. Yes, it's just that simple. I wish I could make it more fancy, but it's just as simple as that. You're growing, you're blooming. Like, oh my gosh, we grow. Like, who would have ever known? Like, who would have ever thought? But that's what it is. So as you're growing, and now that you know, okay, everything that's been going on lately, all of the weird coincidences and things that I've left behind, this is just because I'm going through a transition. Okay, like, what now, right? Keep going through it. Keep going through it. There is no point of a transition if you're going to stop in the middle of it. You have to transition. That's the point of a transition. You cannot just stop. Let it flow. Let it flow. Let it happen. Let whatever needs to be gone go. Let whatever you're outgrowing be detached from you. Just let it happen. Let it happen. Don't fight it. Don't question it. It's for your good, and he's doing it for your good because there is another level that he wants to take you to. There's another level, right? So I also want y'all to think of, okay, I'm really on levels. Like, I'm talking a lot about levels, but that's just what I'm feeling. Let's say you're at level 8, okay? And the next level is level 9. It is important to be, first off, honest with God, but vulnerable. Because when he wants to take you to another level, you have to be honest and admit the things that you're attached to, and the things that you love, and the things that I shouldn't like, but I do like, God, and if I need help with this, take it from me, right? Those kind of conversations are needed to get to the next level. Like, you can't progress and you was never honest. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't need you to lie to him. He knows your heart. He knows your heart better than you. So you need to be honest. And this isn't a game of get to the next level, get to the next level. This is just, I'm just talking about levels. But this is the goal of this is to not just simply get to the next level, okay? The goal is to be obedient, all right? And surrender. That's a whole other topic. But in this level and in this moment, when you are progressing and when you're going to the next level, whatever that looks like for you, it's important. It is so very important. Oh my gosh, help me. To surrender to the things in that level, okay? You cannot carry all of this baggage to the next level. If you're climbing a staircase, you know how hard it is? If you got bags throwing over every bag, and then you're hopping to the next level. You're throwing over the bags and hopping to the next level. You gotta leave those bags, bro. You gotta leave those bags. And that's what this is. He's making you leave your bags. And because, again, you're the dog in the bath, you're the little girl getting her hair done, to us, it feels like, what is going on? Like, what is happening? You're being pruned and sharpened, and prepared for the next level. I know, like I said, I wish that was more fancy. I wish it was more elaborative, but it's just a transition. I encourage everybody who's in the middle of it to go through it. Don't fight it. Don't question it. Let whatever needs to happen, happen. And you'll see at the end of that transition, what it was for. And that's not to say that that's the only transition you're going through. There's transitions in life. Right now, you're transitioning from something to something else. And then later in life, it's just gonna keep going. But the point of this is to recognize why you're hurting, like where the pain is coming from. It's coming from you letting this stuff go. Sometimes it's our camera roll. Like, I'm not gonna lie. You know what I mean? I felt like that literally just came to me. If you got toxic things in your phone, and you just keep going to your camera roll and you scroll all the way to the top and you're just going down memory lane, you need to ask yourself, okay, after I do this, how does this make me feel? Like, after I do this, what does this cause me to go do? Or do you run to Instagram and make a post or, something like that because of what you just came out of? You was just scrolling through your phone. You was just going down memory lane. Now you're filled with all these mixed emotions. Now you miss this person and you miss this relationship. And why do we have to fall off? And you're going through all messages. That is torment. Like, you're literally tormenting yourself. Like for real. Like, out of love, stop doing that. Delete it, bro. Delete it. I know that's hard. That's hard. Because when you sad and you want to reminisce, you want to go to the messages, you want to go to the camera roll. But again, we're about progressing and getting out of certain levels. So what good is that serving you in your health by going down memory lane? Not just any memory lane, a toxic memory lane. Like, you're reminiscing over this thing so bad. Like, you wish you could bring it back. You wish that you could just have one more chance with this person, or at this certain place or location. But that season of your life may be over, and you're having a hard time with that. So you don't want to delete the pictures, and you don't want to delete the messages. But that's exactly what's keeping you stuck in this level, because you keep going back to it. You keep going back to those messages. That's not what God wants for you. He wants you to progress. And first off, He wants you to give all of those concerns and issues and problems to Him. You know what I mean? That's another service, conversation, topic, whatever you want to call it. But specifically for this unknowing transition, it starts with you two. I know we talked about not knowing, and everything around you just isn't making sense and it hurts, but it also takes for you. You know what I mean? If you're being pulled up to a next level, but also being told, hey, that gotta stay, that can't come. You gonna take it? You can't take it. That's the ugly truth that we have to face. We always want to take something that can't come. We always want to take somebody that can't come. And it doesn't mean that He doesn't love them. It just means this is whatever He's trying to do with you in this season is between you and God. Not you, God, and them. Or you, God, and Him. Or you, God, and her. Whoever your third party is. Or however many people that you have on your side that you just cannot seem to let go. Let God handle that. And get into a space with Him. Y'all, I'm only saying this because I'm literally in the middle of going through it. I'm in the middle of going through this. I'm not talking from a point of view of, oh, that journey was great, let me make a podcast about it. No, like, you'll never graduate the journey. You're always going to be on a journey. I feel like the best thing that you could do is share which level you're at on your journey, and that'll give other people perspective. But you know what I mean? Like, you'll never graduate the journey, arguably, even after death. Okay? Because now you with the big man, and you with the kingdom, and in the kingdom and in heaven, everything is serving something. Nothing is random. Everything is serving something. So that was a lot. But back to my point. Progression. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, I can only speak about this if I've progressed myself. I am currently going through this. Like, literally. I went from a place of just, I don't know how to say this without offending anybody, because this is not that. This is simply coming from a certain level to another level. Like, I do not mean to offend anybody, but that's just the simple truth. I was at a level of just being mediocre. I wasn't experiencing my full self. I wasn't experiencing all of my compartments that God put in me. I was only tapping into a few of them. And when I laid that down at his feet, I tapped into quite a few. Like, not all of them, but the ones that I have discovered is something that I haven't discovered before. And I wouldn't have gotten there if I didn't leave those bags at the other level. And everybody has different bags. Like, what are your bags? What is that for you? Is that a person? Is that a best friend? Is that a best friend? Because that's something else. Oh my gosh, we could talk about that all day. We gotta stop calling people our best friend. Like, I know when we was in middle school, high school, everybody had a nickname. Bugaboo, Bestie, 4L, Smoochy Pooch, all this stuff. Names have weight. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm not calling you, like, you're not my best friend. So why would I call you that? Or my sis, or I don't know, maybe that's just me. I'm picky with what I say to you, because sometimes that be resonating with people, and now they really think that you look at them like that, and they're expecting you to hold them to that standard. Like, oh, she calls me sis, so hey sis, you got 20? Like, you see what I mean? You gotta be careful what you call. That was a side note. That was a completely side note. Anyway, everybody has different bags. Like, what are those bags to you? What are those bags to you? Is it a habit? Is it a bad habit that you need to leave, that you need to lay down? Is it a person? Is it a relationship? Is it an object? Is it something that you're idolizing? Whatever it is, I believe this is your sign to lay it down so you can go to the next level. Like, man, wouldn't it suck to realize that there was 100 levels and you've been at level 6 for 10 years? Like, I wouldn't want to go through that. You know what I mean? So let's go to the next level. All right, let's go to the next level. Leave whatever it is that you need to leave behind, whoever you need to leave behind, and ask God. You know, he'll tell you for sure. Open up that relationship with him. He'll show you exactly what and who and when and why you need to leave it to get to the next level. It's just that simple. Like I said, I wish it was more fancy, but it's just not. It's not. God met me when I was in this confusing transition. And like I said, he sent me a spirit and coach. A coach in spirit, which was Sarah Jakes. Amongst others, not just her as well. I mean, the whole Potter's house, their whole team. I told you I found Priscilla and Medina Pullings and Maddie Ray. Like, I found so many missionaries and warriors that have really helped me make sense of all of this. And he met me, and he didn't just meet me, but he targeted me. Like, man, like, bro, it was crazy. Like, it was too on the nose. it was like, all right. I'm gonna give y'all a little tidbit, a little tidbit, okay? When you allow him, when you get into a relationship with God, first off, and I mean purely, not just in a relationship like, oh, show me what you got. Like, no, like talk to him. He talks back. Like, I promise you. So anyway, I would turn on an episode or a service, and she would just say things that it was a little too prophetic for me. It was like, bro, how would you know that? But you see, that is the proof of God working through somebody to reach the other person on the other side of that stage or the other side of that phone. You know what I mean? And like I said, the first one that I watched, it was titled Girl, Get Up. I mean, that hit me. I would literally go into the bathroom and like cry because I was so hurt, and I just needed something to make sense. I needed somebody to make sense. I felt like nothing was making sense. Not only was I going through this transition, but the things that I would normally run to, or the things that I would, go after, I lost the taste for. It was like God took my taste buds away for these things that I used to enjoy doing. So when you're in a transition and you no longer can go to the things that you go to, what do? It was like he completely isolated me. He got me exactly where he wanted me. He made me bored on purpose. He gave me no choice but to lock in and focus. And that's exactly what I did, because that's all I could do. I'm talking about the little bit of friends that I had here, they moved. Okay? My boyfriend's friends, everybody that was around him, they moved. It was like he wanted me alone. Like, he isolated me on purpose just so that I could hear him more, hear his voice better, and like become more intimate with him and stuff like that. And this doesn't, people take this as because after you share things like this, people look at you like, oh, so you must not go through anything no more. No, that's not the point of this. That's not the point of this. The point of this is so that you now are aware of him, and you have a different tool that you didn't have. Okay, perfect example. Thank you, God. He be giving me these examples. Okay, I want you to think of a like a nail, right? And then a hammer, and then a drill. So if you have a nail and you're hammering the nail in, okay, that's cool. But there's a better tool that exists, right? That's a drill, right? You go, woo, put it in the wall, bam, it's done in 3 seconds. Now, does that mean that you will never have to work with your hand again? No. AKA, does that mean that you will never have problems again? No. It just means you have a better tool. Like, he gives you better tools. So that's kind of what it's like, getting closer with God and hearing his voice more and letting him show up in the way that he wants to show up through your life, because he's going to give you better tools. It doesn't mean that you're never going to go through nothing again. It doesn't mean that you won't have problems. It does not mean that you'll never cry again. It just means that you're closer with him now, and you have a better tool. I mean, don't be ungrateful now, because if you never had this tool, you would still be hammering for 10 more minutes. I'm being dramatic. But for real, like, he's giving you better tools, and you gotta be appreciative of that. So I thank him for the tools that he's given me, for how far he's, brought me. And I definitely want to share more about this, because this episode was just specifically targeting the unknowing transition. The people that are going through something and they know they're changing, but they don't know why they're changing, and they don't know what's going on, but they know things are changing. Their music selection is changing. The shows that they like in them is craving something else outside of what it is. And it is because you've gotten closer with God, and it's because he's stripping the things away from you that no longer serve you. So thank y'all for listening. I hope and pray that somebody received what needed to be received out of this for them. You know, I don't believe you watched this by accident. So if this was for you, please lay that down, okay? Let the bags go and go to the next level, because there's definitely something there waiting for you. And you're only gonna know by going, right? So thank y'all for watching again, okay? Episode 3, probably next Friday. Let's say next Friday. Thank y'all. Love y'all.